This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 1 in the National Football League. Buffalo Bills at home taking on the New York Jets. AFC East family business. I didn't know what to make of this game. Going into it, I don't expect a ton from the Bills this year. Sean McDermott, first-year head coach, coming over from Carolina. Tyrod Taylor, concussion in the preseason. Was he going to play? He ultimately did play. But, the Bills kind of lukewarm on him as an organization. Now that you got new guys in there, how do they feel about Tyrod Taylor? Do they love him? Do they not like him? I don't really know the direction they're going in. They drafted Nathan Peterman. How do they feel about him? A lot of questions in Buffalo. As always, never enough answers. And then with the Jets, they're just not good. Period. Now, defensively, they're not half bad. But that's never been the problem in New York. The problem has always been offensively, they stink. And that's a problem again this year, and nothing's changed. And it's the same reason that poor Todd Bowles is going to get fired in New York, because they don't have any offensive talent. Not enough, at least. We're going to talk about all the problems on offense with the Jets a little bit later on. We're going to get to the winners, because to the winners go the spoils. Bills got it done in this game. We're going to start with them. But before we do that, I urge you to subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game. I want you to help us change the game by simply hitting that subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. I'm also on Twitter. At In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. And also, I'm on Instagram. It's with the Z _me, Louie T, on IG. So go ahead and follow me there as well. And if you want your voice to be heard, if you're watching this live and have a comment, by all means, fire away using the hashtag #LouieTLive to have your comment read at the end of this breakdown. So let's start with the winning team in the game. Bills got it done 21-12 at the crib over the Jets. And so first thing that jumped out at me, and it doesn't seem to change with this Bills team since Tyrod Taylor has taken over as quarterback, and since they've gotten LaShawn McCoy at the running back position. Damn, this team can run the football. God damn. They can run the ball with the best of them in this league, man. I don't give a damn who they're playing. I don't care what the situation is. The Bills can run the goddamn football, man. And this Jets defense isn't half bad. Like, it's not like they were playing the Little Sisters of the Poor. Okay, it's not like they were playing a team that can't stop the run to save their lives. Yet they almost amassed 200 yards rushing yet again, man. It's like clockwork for these dudes. They just run the football better than most in the league. Tyrod Taylor gets in when he has to, but Shady over 100 yards. He had a $110 in this game. Tolbert comes over to the human bowling ball and fire hydrant, comes over from Carolina with McDermott, and he rushes for about 40 yards. And it was just a physicality with which he ran. He had the rushing touchdown from a yard out. It reminds me of when Buffalo had Booby Dixon running the football a couple years back. This team just can run the football, man. They're just physical up front. They move people off the line of scrimmage, create a new line of scrimmage, and it's fun to watch Shady, man. Shady is one of the most elusive backs still in the league, and quietly, we don't talk about him enough, probably because he's in Buffalo, but he's one of the best backs in the league. When we start rattling off the best backs in the league, we rattle off Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson. We start naming Ezekiel Elliott. What about LaShawn McCoy? Why do we forget him? Like, he's not putting in work out there in Buffalo, man. He's still one of the best backs in the league. We'll run off 5 and 6 backs before we finally get around him. Oh, yeah, and McCoy in Buffalo. No, not oh, yeah. He's one of the best backs in the league, man. He continues to just wow me every time I watch, as he was phenomenal. There was a play where he catches a pass on like a 3rd and 20, makes like 4 dudes miss, cuts it all the way back against the grain. He's palming the football like it's some type of piece of paper, and just finds a way to get 21 on 3rd and 20. That's Shady McCoy in a nutshell, man. They can run the football. Tyrod Taylor, I love watching him play because where there's a will, there's a way with Tyrod. It's not always pretty, but he's so athletic. He can get outside the pocket. He can create. And his ability to extend plays and still keep his eyes down the field and make things happen, that's fun to watch as well. And they're a dangerous team. They're just so inconsistent. That's the problem with them. You don't know if Tyrod's going to be able to stay healthy year in and year out. You don't know what kind of production you're going to get and productivity you're going to get offensively. Are they going to turn it over? Are they going to be inconsistent? That's always an issue. And then defensively, one week they're really good. The next week they're giving up 38 to New England. And so you just don't know what you're going to get from the Bills week to week. But when they're on, they're a fun team to watch. They're flying around right there. They got a number of new guys in the secondary. I thought their rookie, Tre'Davious White, looked really good, almost had about 2 picks. Micah Hyde, your free agent acquisition, had a pick to basically seal the game up. And so guys are flying around, a lot of new pieces and parts in that secondary. It looks good right now. It looks damn good. I'd like to see them get more pressure on the quarterback. I didn't think they got enough pressure on McCown. Who's that guy? Who's the guy that gets pressure on the quarterback? I don't see that guy right now. And so I remember a couple of years ago, you couldn't get enough sacks to share around that defensive line with Kyle Williams and Mario Williams and Jerry Hughes and all those guys. And now I don't see a guy out there getting to the quarterback right now. But again, week 1, we'll see if someone emerges. You'd like that guy to be Lawson, but I think he's more of a power pass rusher. He's not like a guy that's going to beat anybody off the edge. I mean, I told you that when he got drafted out of Clemson. I don't think he's a big-time impact sack guy. I think he's a guy that hustles, that'll get some sacks like he did at Clemson just from, never giving up on a play. But I don't think he's initially going to beat guys off the snap and win consistently. But that's another conversation for another day. The Bills did enough defensively to get it done versus the Jets. Offensive or defensively, I basically said what I wanted to say about the Bills defensively. It's a different team. They're flying around right now. It was the Jets, so you have to take everything that you saw with a grain of salt because that team over there isn't uber talented on the offensive side of football. Like I said, I want to see them get more pressure on the quarterback, but they're running to the football. They're out there running around, having fun, and that's always good to see from a defensive unit. And to only give up 12 points, again, albeit the Jets, to only give up 12 points in your season debut, especially for a new head coach coming over and defense being his staple, that was good for the Bills to get off to a nice start like that for Sean McDermott and his staff. You go to the Jets side of things in this football game. And let me go back to Tyrod Taylor in the offense because I thought Jordan Matthews had a nice little debut. He had a nice catch and run that set up some points. And I also want to see them get Zay Jones more involved in the offense. He only had 1 catch, I believe, on like a little bit of a bubble. It was a catch down the field, like a 10 or 12-yard catch. I want to see him get a little bit more involved. They tried to get him a bubble. It didn't work, and Tyrod threw it into the ground. I want to see them get him more involved in this offense because I think they've got enough weapons to be dangerous, especially with their ability to run the football. Who's the guy that's going to stretch the field? Who's the guy that's got legit speed that can get over the top and really pay off the play-action fake that you're setting up with the run game being as dominant as it is? Who's that guy that's going to stretch the field for you? Do you have that guy? I remember at one point you had a ton of speed. Kobe Listenby, that he never really worked out, but he was a guy that could run. Marquise Goodwin obviously was a guy that you chose to take the top off the defense on most occasions. He's no longer there now in San Francisco. So I wonder who that guy is now. Samuel Watkins off to Los Angeles. I don't know if you have that guy on the roster right now. I could be overlooking someone, but right now I just don't know if you have that guy or not. And boy, it's fun to watch. When the Bills are clicking, it's fun to watch. I'm not going to lie to you. You go to the Jets, and let's start with the defense because that's the bright spot. The lone bright spot on this football team right now is that Jamal Adams. Boy, is he good, man. Jamal Adams is a man. He's a man. He's a man. He's a man. I watched that young man run around the field, hitting people, knocking balls loose, darting into the backfield, tackles for loss. He was all over the damn place, man. He's just a joy to watch, man. And he's going to be really good for that Jets defense. They were flying around the ball. Lee was flying around. They got some speed. They got some athleticism. You know, they still got Muhammad Wilkerson along the defensive line. They still got some stuff. They still got Williams. They got some stuff on defense, man. They're not terrible defensively. They still got some guys that can get it done. It's a shame because I don't know if the defense is good enough to create turnovers, and they should have had a pick six. Justin Burris picked off a pass in the end zone, and he was on his way, and his teammate knocked him down. That probably should have been, a pick six, a house call, about 107 yards to the house. But I don't know if this is a defense that's going to create a ton of turnovers and shorten the field for an offense that needs the field to be shortened. I just don't know. I think this is a defense that can stop teams from scoring, like a point-wise defense, not giving up a ton of points. But and that's great because if you don't give up a ton of points, it means you're probably going to be in the ball game. But this offense needs help. And I don't know if this defense is the type of defense that's going to create help for it. I just think they're going to be able to get teams off the field on some third down situations, and they're going to get the football back to the offense. But what does that mean when your offense is this Jets offense? Speaking of which, let's talk about what's wrong with this Jets offense. So I've got a list of things. And if you could just take a look up at the top of the screen, and I'm going to allow it to come back up across so that you can take a look at the Jets and their leaders for every category. And you tell me, I'm going to give you just about a good 15 seconds to internalize the Jets leaders on offense. And you tell me what's wrong with this Jets offense as the Jets leaders on the offensive side of the football scroll across the screen for you. I'm going to give you a little bit of a chance to internalize what's wrong with this Jets offense as it stands right now, because I can see, just looking at the leaders on this football team, I can see a number of issues. Just the stats and the leaders, I see a number of issues with this football team on the offensive side of the football as to why they're not good, one, and two, why they're not going to win a ton of games if this type of nonsense continues moving forward. So you've seen the Jets offensive leaders in passing, rushing, and receiving in this ball game. You look at the score, 21-12. The Jets were never out of this game. Never, ever out of this game. As a matter of fact, they were a 2-point conversion away from tying this game in the second half at 14 apiece. So they were never out of this game. Okay, so you've had time to internalize what you've seen. Okay, here are my issues with this football team offensively. One, Josh McCown is your starting quarterback. I love Josh McCown, just not as my starting quarterback. But when you don't have a better option, when he's the best you got, that's a problem. Problem two, Josh McCown threw the football almost 40 times. Why? You weren't down by 14 in this game. You weren't down by any astronomical amount that forced you to take to the air. You were down by 9. And frankly, you should have never went for 2 to tie the game that early, because what in effect you've done is put yourself in a position that if the Bills, and they ultimately did, score a touchdown, now you're down 2 scores instead of 1. You don't go chasing the points there. But I get it. When you don't know when your next touchdown is going to come, you go for 2 there just in case the Bills don't score another touchdown, and you want to have yourself be in a position where if the Bills kick a field goal or if the Bills don't score any more points, you're already tied, or you can kick a field goal and retie the game at 17. So I get it. You don't know, just like a man who doesn't know where his next meal is coming from and he's desperate and he's willing to do anything. You didn't know when your next touchdown was going to come, and ultimately it didn't come. And so you said, let me go for 2 now just in case we don't score again. And you didn't. So I get it. But Josh McCown throwing the football 40 times. Why? Okay. Next problem. Problem number 3. Bilal Powell, who I love, is your leading rusher with 7 carries. Why does Matt Forte only have 6 carries? Why does Matt Forte only have 16 yards? Why does Bilal Powell only have 7 carries and 22 yards? Why is Josh McCown throwing it 39 times again? Okay. Problem number 4. Didn't Jermaine Kearse just get on your football team? Like, isn't he like literally a week new? Why is he your leading receiver? Do you not have any other guys that can lead your team in receiving? Not to say that Jermaine Kearse isn't supposed to lead your team in receiving and isn't good enough to lead your team in receiving. But didn't he just get there? Like, why is he leading your team in receptions? I know you got a ton of rookies and young guys, but damn, that's a problem fundamentally in itself. That the newest guy that just got there leads your team in receiving. And the quarterback, who's been a journeyman around this league and played on like 9 different teams, is starting and throwing the football 40 times, yet your best player on offense, who happens to be Matt Forte and a running back, only touches it 6 times and gets 16 yards. Where's the psychological sense in that? You need to wash your face and get your mind right. Makes no sense to me. And here we ask why the Jets only scored 12 points. I don't know why. Stop asking. Yeah, McCown threw 2 interceptions. He threw it 40 times and still didn't have 200 yards. You got me, man. My hands are up. Bills get it done 21-12. Let's get to some comments, if there are any comments to be had. What's good, Dane? Tyler Rodriguez says, who's going to have more yards this year? Ezekiel Elliott or LaShawn McCoy? Hard to say because we don't know what the status and verdict is going to be for Ezekiel Elliott. The league petitioned to have that suspension lifted for Ezekiel Elliott. So they're still trying to get him suspended. So they filed a motion to have that lifted so that the suspension can be reimposed. So we don't know what that situation is going to unveil and what's going to be the aftermath of that. But let's just assume both of these guys play 16 games, which right now it's hard to do. But if we were to do that, I'd go with Ezekiel Elliott just because of the offensive line that he's in front of and the way their offense is set up. I think he's going to be able to be the benefactor of a lot of good fortune around him. Shady McCoy is the best thing the Bills have on their offense. And teams are going to start to try to stop him. It's tough because teams try to stop him every week and he still gets over 100 yards. But it's going to be a lot easier for Ezekiel Elliott to run for over 100 yards in any given game than it is LaShawn McCoy, just because teams are going to try to stack the box and stop Shady, I think, moving forward, because the Bills have an identity. They want to run the football. The Cowboys have an identity. They want to run the football, but the Cowboys don't have to run the football. They can throw it, and that's going to open up things for Zeke even more, whereas the Bills have to run the football to be successful. Teams know that, and I think it's going to make it that much tougher. But Dame says, people in the Bills fan base were mad we won. They want us to have the number 1 pick overall. I just want to win. I can never understand fans that think it's okay to lose. It's a culture. It's a mindset. When you lose football games, I don't give a damn for who. When you lose football games, it starts to seep into the brains of your players. They think it's okay. They think it's acceptable to lose. And that's why you always hear of culture change. That's real. Like, some of the things that you hear people say over and over and people just say because they heard somebody else say it. You think that it's just what you say because it sounds good because you've heard 18 other people say it and it sounded good when they said it. So I'll say it too because it makes me sound smart. That whole they need to change the culture in the locker room. No, that's legit. I've been, and again, I haven't played at a high level, but I've been in situations on teams where guys thought it was okay to lose. It's never okay to lose. I don't like losing at tic-tac-toe. Okay? I was playing tic-tac-toe with a second grader that I was tutoring. And I told myself, just let her win. And I couldn't do it because it's a mindset. I can't lose. But some people are okay with losing. And you know what I call them? Losers. And it's not okay to be a loser. At any point in your life, is it okay to be a loser? It's never okay to want to tank to get a player that you don't even know is coming out in the draft or not. That you don't even know if he's going to be good or not. It's never okay to want to lose. Period. End of discussion. That's why I let the losers worry about losing. That's what I say to that. You keep on rooting for your team to win, Dame. That's all I know. You can't worry about the rest of those clowns that want to lose. You just keep rooting for your Bills to win every week. You just keep doing that. Dame said the Jets throw a lot because we shut down their run game. Shut down is such a relative term. Yeah, they probably didn't have the type of success that they wanted to have on the ground. But they didn't run it enough. They only ran it like 15 times the entire game. They threw it 40 times. Not when you're only down 2. Not when you're only down 6. Not when you're only down 9. There was no excuse for that. Anyway, I digress, man. I done went off on a tangent. That's going to do it for this breakdown. Appreciate you guys watching. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Lockdown coverage. Got more games to come, including Falcons at Bears next. That should be a good one. Haven't watched it yet, along with 49ers and Panthers and Rams and Colts, and that'll wrap up lockdown coverage for today. Can't wait to watch this Falcons game, as this one was a tight one in Chicago. I told you the Bears are going to be a much improved football team. Going to scare some teams like they did the Falcons. Probably not going to beat the good ones, though. And so can't wait to watch that one. I'll be back. More games to break down. This is your man, Louie T, signing off. Lockdown coverage. Still more to come. See you in a little bit.